UFC 207, December 30th. One of the big performances that night. TJ Dillashaw, his win over John Lineker. Equally impressive, his post-fight comments. Really wanted to talk to him a little more about all of that, so he is kind enough to join us on the phone. TJ, are you there?
Yes, I am. How's it going?
It's going great. Thank you for the time. Is it fair to say, TJ, that was a bit of a different TJ Dillashaw than the one that we saw at 200? It felt like you had, there was some, I don't know, maybe a little more urgency, killer instinct. I don't know. It just felt like you were just a notch above. I don't know. It felt like the Barao Dillashaw. I'm not taking anything away from that performance, but it was just so impressive to watch what you were doing to someone like John Lineker. Is that accurate at all?
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, I'm always trying to get better fight by fight. You know, I'm putting in a lot of time in the gym all the time and trying to evolve as a fighter. So it's nice to hear it from someone else. I mean, I haven't even gone back and watched the fight yet. So, I mean, I felt great. You know, I mean, coming out of the fight, I was unscathed. I didn't really get hit. The game plan worked perfectly. I was relaxed, having fun in there. And, yeah, aggressive, man. I wanted to try to finish John Lineker. I wanted to make a statement. I wanted to show everyone in the world that I deserve that title shot, and I feel like I'm the best bantamweight in the world.
Is there any particular reason why you haven't watched it yet? I mean, it was such a great performance. Usually you hear guys want to watch it that night. Any particular reason why?
I usually always take some time off. My whole life is fighting, you know. Yeah. I mean, I take a little bit of time off, spend some time with the wife, with the family, kind of hang out, have a normal life until I get back to doing a bunch of interviews and watching my fight. I mean, no matter what, even if I know what's going to happen when I go back and watch my fights, I get like the pre-fight jitters when I watch it. You know what I mean? So I was dealing with that all camp, so I always just kind of relax for at least a week or 2 weeks after the fight and just kind of shut things down and kind of reboot before I get started.
This was an interesting camp for you. Of course, we talked all about the association stuff. You were really, you know, wearing your heart on your sleeve, and kind of weird, like the other guys who were a part of it, you know, Kennedy, Cain Velasquez, you know, some of them didn't have the best month as well. Did you feel like, okay, were you fighting at all for the group as well? And I know, you know, fighting for yourself, for your family, to get the title shot, all that stuff is important enough and you don't need more pressure. But was any part of you thinking, I've said a lot going into this fight, I kind of have to back it up here?
I mean, I guess a little bit, you know, but kind of like we said before, you have so much other pressure on yourself for just getting those wins. It's hard to even add more pressure to yourself. But I guess a little bit, you know. I mean, when it comes down to it, I just kind of have been talking the truth and talking how I feel, you know. I mean, I feel like that's the only way to roll these days. I mean, is to really say it as it lies. You know, I'm not going to go and create drama. I'm just going to say what's in front of me and be the most honest person I can, you know. And I'm just standing up for what I felt was right. You know, win or lose that night too, I still standing up for what I feel is right, you know.
What was the reception that you got all week in Las Vegas? I mean, did it feel frostier given all the stuff that had gone on in December for you?
But the reception was great, you know. I mean, I never had a bad word said about me, at least to me. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's always hard to put yourself into. I mean, I had to do less media too, which was kind of nice. So I didn't really have to be involved in it too much, you know. I mean, there were some bigger fights with Ronda coming back, and with the title fight with Cruz and Garbrandt being on the card. You know, I got to do a little bit less media, so I didn't have to deal with it too much. I got to really focus on my fight and on how I felt, you know.
There was a report that came out afterwards that Lineker actually broke his jaw in the fight. Did you sense that at all?
I did not. Yeah, I actually heard that as well. One of my friends was telling me that he said that he broke it in the first round when I landed a head kick, and that makes me realize how much even crazier John Lineker is. Because I remember in the second round when I was ground and pounding and elbowing him, he was trying to headbutt my elbow. So with him pushing through with a broken jaw and like talking trash while being on bottom and headbutting my elbow, he's a tough cat, man. I mean, because I know I landed a really good left head kick in the first round, and he just ate it. You know, I mean, I knew he had a good chin from watching his fights, but yeah, to continue with a broken jaw, that's pretty tough.
that was the craziest part. First round, so he still went over 10 more minutes with a broken jaw, and you were hitting him. Crazy.
Yeah, just like I was gonna say, it wasn't like I wasn't landing punches after that either. Too, you know, I was trying to put him away, and yeah, man, he's definitely a tough cat. You know. But I think that's the part of his downfall is that he's relying on his toughness instead of actually getting better. You know, it's worked for him a lot, but you know, once you start fighting him smart and getting someone else that could be very well rounded, it's you know, I think it's his downfall.
You know, people rave about his punching power. How does it, you know, compare to some of the other people you fought? Does he punch harder?
No, man. I mean, obviously I didn't really sit there and exchange with
Sure.
him much. I think I got hit with the right hand in the second round. But as far as I know, no. I mean, I've been hit harder in fights.
Okay.
So I mean, nothing not to come home and rave about.
Were you guys talking to each other throughout the fight?
Yeah, but I didn't know what he doesn't speak any English, and he's on bottom. He's looking at me, and he's like very like expressive about it, and he's saying something, and all I said back was like, "Man, I don't understand what you're saying," and kind of laughed about it, But yeah, he kept trying to say things that I just couldn't pick up on, I mean, I'd imagine he's probably saying when he was on bottom, like, "Come on, let's get up and go at it," But I have no idea. I actually kind of want to know what he was saying as well.
Yeah, it would be interesting to get that audio and show it to someone who speaks Portuguese and see if he was saying anything interesting. So kind of going back to the original point, considering the fact that you didn't get the title shot after the win over Sun Tzu and you were probably expecting that, did you feel like you had to up your game a little bit to prove that point, to make it indisputable that you are that number one contender? Was that part of the game plan, if you will, at all?
I mean, kind of always, I mean, I don't like to be known as a boring fighter. I like to know that I'm always going to push the pace. I'm always going to bring it, that I'm very, very aggressive. And I knew if I just kind of stuck to the way I fight that I can continue to impress people, I might not impress people with me being a jerk and talking a bunch of trash, but I'm definitely going to impress you by my fighting style and the way I bring it. So I was just going to bring it as normal and know that my work ethic was going to get me there. So, I mean, yeah, it is nice to put that statement in everyone and for it to go the way it did, but it wasn't like added pressure that I needed to. I just knew that I needed to perform. And when I go out there with a smile on my face and just relax and have fun, man, that's when I put on great performances. And
then how about that post-fight interview with Joe Rogan and the parting shot? "If I don't get a title shot next, this shit is rigged," and then you walk off. Did you like it? Were you proud of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to remember what I did, but I do remember saying that. I mean, I believe it. I mean, I feel like I've done what I need to do to get a title shot. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. Like I said, I'm just gonna speak the truth. I mean, if people like it or don't, it's the truth. And yeah, I mean, I really feel like I should be getting it. And really, I kind of hyped it up even more because I really believe that Cruz was hand selecting his fights. That he wasn't fighting the number one guys. And so for me to put that out there was saying that not to let Cruz hand select his fights and make sure that the number one guys are fighting.
So the timing was great because you have that great performance. You're the number one contender, and then the title fight is the next fight. So you're still part of the conversation even at the end of the night. Did you go to the back? Did you go to the locker room and watch the Cruz Garbrandt fight?
Yes, I did. Yeah. And I watched it. They wanted to film me watching it and all this deal. They wanted to build up the hype of it.
And were you shocked? Like, was any part of you expecting Garbrandt to fight like that?
I was impressed. Yeah, I mean, I expected him to be the emotional fighter, with just the way everything went down that week, and I felt like Cruz was purposely getting his guys to try to get into his head, but I guess I was giving Cruz too much credit for being smarter than he was because Cruz is the one that actually came out and fought emotional. He didn't fight like he usually does. He looked slow, looked like he was loading up on his punches, and didn't mix things up very well. You know what I mean? He was the one that actually fought emotional, and Cody fought smart. He did a great job. I was impressed.
What kind of surprised you more, the way Cody fought, with that confidence, and even some of the games and the dancing and things like that, or the way Dominic fought?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
That Cody was out there and looking that good. That's by far the best he's looked. And then I do think that was one of the worst that Cruz has looked also. So I was surprised by both because like I told you, I thought Cruz was the smarter one. I thought Cruz was the one that was going to get under Cody's skin and Cody fight overly aggressive. And I really think maybe Cruz was expecting that, and then when it didn't happen, it threw off everything. As well as not being able to get that takedown in the first round, kind of put him in shambles, and he started standing in front of Cody and throwing and brawling, which he never does. I wish he would have fought me that way.
Who are you rooting for?
It was a tough one because I couldn't believe that there'd be ever a chance that I would root against Cody against Cruz. You know what I mean? Because Cruz just got under my skin. And I didn't feel like he acted very professional, just kind of a jerk. So it was kind of up in the air. I knew I needed to talk a bunch of trash about Cruz to where if he won, I wanted to make sure I was going to get that fight, that he wasn't going to continue to run. And I knew if Cody won, that I feel like that'd be an easy select for me to get the fight. So I think before the fight, I would talk a bunch of trash. I wanted Cruz to win to get that, which I still want that win back. I want to fight Cruz, but ultimately I want to get that belt. But So before the fight, it was talking trash on Cruz and saying I wanted him to win so that I can get it. But watching Cody fight, man, it was something. I was impressed and proud for him, proud for the way he handled himself and how it went down.
Was this one at all a little awkward because, a lot of the ex-teammates were there? When you fought at 200, that wasn't the case. But this time, everyone was backstage with Cody. Was that weird at all for you?
No, man. I saw him a couple of times and said, "What's up?" I think it gets blown out of proportion a little bit throughout the media, and then obviously Alpha Male is going to continue to blow it up because they're getting a lot of attention from it and they think they're making themselves look cool. But when we're face to face, it's not that big a deal. I'm going to say hi to them. I feel like I've created lifetime friendships through them, and they're going to show their true colors. All I can do is kind of put a smile on my face and say what's up. And I got no bad blood. I have no reason to hate those guys other than the shit that Uriah was talking now, and now the stuff that Cody's talking. But everyone else, I've got some good friends. Danny came out and was training in Colorado until he got cut from the UFC. I've had Justin Buchholz in my corner every fight except for the last two. He was the one that convinced me to actually make the move out to Colorado and told me that I was doing the right things, And so I know those guys know that I did this because of their influences as well, and it's getting blown out of proportion a little bit in the media.
And did you and Cody kind of have an exchange backstage? One of the PR guys said that you actually exchanged some pleasantries after both of your fights. Did that happen?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I saw him walking out, and he just got done one. He was all suited up. And I went and told him, congratulations, man. It's a big thing and a huge thing for him. He came to the gym before he was even in the UFC, and for him to come up and perform that well, I told him congratulations for sure.
And we spoke to Cody on the show last Monday and talking about the win and everything, and then a little bit about what's next. And just at the end, it was more about the road and the victory, but the last couple minutes was about what's next. And he mentioned Jose Aldo, he mentioned Conor McGregor, which honestly I did not expect him to say. I thought he was going to say Cruz, which is what he said at the post-fight presser. And then he brought you up, and I just want to play the clip for you. It's very quick and get your response. Is that okay?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. Here's Cody talking about TJ.
Really, it was just about getting paid, getting the right contract is why TJ squeezed back in. But, trying to go out there and, he was selling peanut butter. And then Dwayne was selling peanut butter to ante up $100,000 to bribe Cruz into a title shot. Dude, I don't even want to speak on Dillashaw. He doesn't even draw pay-per-view buys, it's not even a fight that makes sense.
The last word was make sense. What's your response to that?
It's funny because he'll call me out right after the fight because he knows that's who he should be fighting. But then in the press conference, he'll talk about how he wants to give Cruz a rematch, and now he wants to, he said he wants to call Aldo McGregor. Mm-hmm. He's going to do whatever he can to try to avoid that fight. He knows that's a tough fight. I've practiced with him for a long time, and Cody's a good fighter, but he knows how tough that fight's going to be. He knows he doesn't want to fight me because he's not going to be able to defend his belt and will never be the real champ. I'm going to come out there and get it back, and he'll try to avoid it. And for him to talk about money is kind of funny because was he talking about me going to Muscle Farm for money, right? Mm-hmm. And it's funny because as soon as Buchholz talked me into it, and as soon as I decided to move to Colorado and started training at Elevation Fight Team, he was the first guy from Alpha Male to reach out to Leister. He texted him on his own, got his number from him in Canada, reached out to Leister on his own, and was trying to figure out how to get out there and how much he can get paid to do it, and wanted to come train, and blah, 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 blah. And he was the first guy to reach out, and we have a full long text message with him and Leister back and forth. So he can talk as much trash as he wants about it, but me and him and the guys on the team all know the real truth. So when everything comes out of his mouth to make himself look cooler, let's go back and tell the truth. You know what I mean? Like it's enough hyping up bullshit and talk about the real shit. And how he was the one that wanted to come out there, the first one out of all of them, when I decided to leave. And now he's team off the mail when he did nothing but bag on him when I left. So it's a little bit of a bullshit drama. But like I said, he's going to try to avoid the fight between me and him because he knows it's tough.
Are you confident you're going to get the next fight? The next title fight?
Yeah, I'm confident, man. Absolutely. I feel like I've done what I was supposed to. I don't see how there's any other way that I can get passed up. And like I said, if I do, it's kind of crazy. I mean, who else has gone out there and beat the the number twos twice in a row as decisively as I have, and not gotten a title shot. I don't understand what else I would need to do,
And so has anything happened? Any talks at all? I mean, I saw some pictures of Cody out for dinner with Dana White. Who knows what they were talking about, but has anyone from the UFC told you about the plans, when they're thinking you might get this title fight? Do you have any updates since we last saw you?
No updates yet. No, nothing yet.
Are you at all worried? I mean, you talked about the CAA stuff, the association stuff. Do you feel like you might get boxed out? They may go with this, super fight, if you will. Are you preparing yourself for that?
I mean, that'd be crazy if they did a super fight. The guy's not even, that's the first time he's fought anybody in the top 5.
Sure. Great. I meant like champion versus champion, like anything but you. Are you preparing for this, the possibility of that? Are you worried that your affiliations with management or the association will derail your hopes?
No, I don't think so, man, because ultimately I think the message I've been portraying is that I want to work with the UFC. They're the greatest company in the world, and they've got me to where I'm at, and I'm trying to work with them. I'm just standing up for what I believe is right and speaking my mind. So I think it'll be all right. I think it'll be fine. You got to keep your eye on the prize and stay positive about it, and just kind of, I don't know if you ever listened to The Secret, just kind of envision it and know what's going to happen.
Okay, and in a perfect world, I mean, are you just down for whenever, or do you have a perfect time frame when you want to fight again?
Oh, I'm down for whenever. I'm healthy. I'm still working out. I've been in the gym, putting some size back on, so I'll fight tomorrow. I mean, I'm healthy. I mean, I'm ready to go.
What about
that fight went perfect for me.
What about these training sessions, you versus him? I mean, you hear all kinds of things about how it went. I mean, were these really some epic battles that you guys were having in the gym and sparring?
Oh, we definitely thrown down. I mean, don't get me wrong, Cody's a tough kid, but it's funny for him to start talking about how he's knocked me out before. For one, I've never been knocked out. The closest I've been knocked out was when John Dodson clipped me in the Ultimate Fighter finale, and he keeps talking about how he has footage on it. And I think that's hilarious because he's digging himself a hole, because if you got footage on it, then put it out. Because it has not happened. So I think that was the biggest thing. The biggest mistake is talking about how he's got footage of it. So if he does, put it out there, because it didn't happen. And if it did, I guess I did get knocked out because I don't remember it.
so you're calling his bluff. You're saying put it out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, why not? Because it didn't happen. And why would I be afraid for him to put it out there when it didn't happen?
Right. Is any part of you kind of dreading this, because it's what it's going to turn into? This is the Team Alpha Male versus TJ fight that we didn't get with Uriah. Now we're going to get it for the belt, so the stakes are even greater. Are you kind of dreading the road to this fight?
I'm not going to dread it, because I'm going to spin it the right way. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'll let them show their true colors. I mean, really, they're going to try to look as cool as they can by making me look like the bad guy and making me look like the traitor, like I left, when really I was the one that got kicked out of the gym, and their head coach of now is the one that told me to leave, that I was making the right choice. And their wrestling coach, Danny Castillo, would still be in Colorado if he didn't get cut from the UFC. It's just kind of crazy that I'm the bad guy when we got Joseph Benavidez training out there. We've got guys going out there. They know that I made the choice because of Dwayne Ludwig. It wasn't because of anything else besides. I mean, Dwayne's been my coach for half my career. So how am I trading on anybody by following my coach? Right. And so all I can do is kind of tell the truth. I mean, I'll let them fabricate their stories, and I'll kind of tell the truth and keep a smile on my face, man, because I don't want to be enemies with my old friends. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be nemesis with Team Alpha Male, because I have too many fond memories of those guys. So I'm going to try to. I know they're going to try to hype it up and talk a bunch of crap, but I'm going to try to be the good guy. You know what I mean? I mean, even if it doesn't seem that way, just tell it as it lies. I mean, that's the best thing I can do, is tell the truth. And just curious, I mean, I'm just wondering, worst case, if you don't get the next title fight, and if you're not the next guy to fight for the belt, what will you do? I'll start pulling the Donald Cerrone and fighting as much as I possibly can, and fighting every weight class. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit around and wait. I'm just going to prove to everyone that I'm the best, and I'll just continue to fight. If I get turned down again, I'll just fight every freaking month, and I'll fight at every weight class. I mean, that's the only way I'm going to get paid as much as I want to without being the champion. And while I have you, any update that you can provide on the association? Anything changed since we last spoke? No, not that I really know of. I mean, they kind of left me out of it for my fight. Yeah. And I've been, like I said, I've been just non-responsive for the last week, just kind of chilling with family. So I haven't really heard too much about it. I'll all I know is I continue to stand up for what I believe. But yeah, I mean, I believe my management's got my back and will do the right things and say the right things for me. So
okay,
I don't really know too much.
Last thing, he mentioned at the end that, you know, you don't sell pay-per-views, that you're not a big enough draw. What's your response to that?
I mean, I disagree. I mean, I feel like I've had some of the best performances ever. So if we're talking about good fights and selling pay-per-views, I mean, let's see what goes down. You know, I don't need to be the flashy guy with the neck tattoos and talking crap. I'm just going to go out there and kick your head off, and that's how I'm going to sell pay-per-views.
Well said. Always appreciate your candor, TJ. Really appreciate you coming on and talking about all this. Hope for your sake that you do get the fight. And, you know, I also appreciate, believe it or not, what you were saying about just telling you like it is and not getting too sensationalistic with the build-up and the rivalry and all that stuff. That is nice to hear as well.
I appreciate it. I mean, it makes it easy. I mean, it makes it easy just to be an open book and tell it how it lies. You know, I don't need to create a bunch of drama. I don't need to be an actor. I'm just going to be myself, and hopefully people love me for that, for putting it all out there, not only in the cage, but telling the truth and what I stand up for and for what I feel, you know?
Thank you very much for the time. Again, congrats on a phenomenal performance. Blown away. I thought it was one of your best, so well done. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, there he is, TJ Dillashaw. Without a doubt, the number one contender in the division. I mean, where you put Cruz right now, you know, could be in that discussion. I mean, it's 1A, 1B, but if you're talking about the next guy who, you know, who's coming off a win, who's, you know, next up, who's looking good, certainly the guy.